Some heirlooms are magical, not because they're rare, but because they hold whole generational connections within them. And the story of how one of them came into my life and the strange omen that appeared later is something that transformed how I view ancestral connection. Join me, Mystic Traveler, as we explore how objects passed from one generation to the next hold importance through both memory and energy. With this light, the mandala of the month deepens. We begin with the thin places where memory meets spirit. Last week, we practiced remembrance through the ritual of the Dumb Supper, a meal shared with those whose memories remain strong within our hearts. And today we turn to a curio of lineage, a vessel of inheritance, a simple object that holds decades of stories. The lantern is lit, the journey continues. In a smoky, dusty kitchen, the walls were lined with glass cabinets, and each one was filled to the brim with china and teapots. You see, my grandmother, a woman who drank coffee nonstop, well, she collected teapots. I'm not sure why she had picked teapots specifically, but at some point she had decided to start collecting them. She wanted to do this so that when she passed, everyone in the family would have one to remember her by. You see, she had 8 children, 6 of whom had children of their own. I had around 30 first cousins growing up, and most of my cousins have 2 to 5 children. I'm one of the few that opted to just have a dog and a bunny. But those teapots became a kind of love language in my family. On every birthday and on Christmas, she would receive unique and strange teapots. Sometimes ones that looked like little houses, ones that looked like a cabbage with a rabbit popping out, and even one that looked like a tiny cast iron stove. At some point, she did shut it down when the whole teapot gifting thing got out of control. I mean, who wants 30 teapots every holiday? These are the favorite of my grandmother's teapots that I have kept. Well, she had wanted every child, grandchild, and great-grandchild to have one someday. But by the time they stopped pouring in, her home had already become a small museum of porcelain. One of my best friends, a sweet man from South Africa, who I had met while living in South Korea, well, he once visited her with me when we had taken a road trip across the Southeast US years ago. And let me tell you, he was absolutely smitten with her kindness, her gentle humor, her open heart. She had the softest voice that was also somehow slightly high-pitched. She had a way of softening anyone who stood in her kitchen. But a person would be foolish to think that her kindness and her soft-spokenness was weakness. I remember how she would call us little turkeys and wave a fly swatter at us when we were up to shenanigans. She was a very accepting person, just truly loving her family, even if imperfectly, but with authenticity. It didn't matter religion, tattoos, or anything else. There was acceptance and no judgment. Whether that had been different in her younger years, I don't really know, but I do know that, like my grandfather, when she knew better, she did better. My grandfather didn't leave any legacy in the same way, but what he did leave were songs, lovely bluegrass songs he had written over the years. One time when I went to visit him towards the end of his life, we were walking across this bridge over the Ohio River with my aunts, and we took a break. We were looking out over the river, and he was in his wheelchair, and he started singing. I was so moved. I was almost cried. It was such a beautiful, heartfelt piece. And in it were not just the words of the young man he had been, full of hope and promise for the life ahead, but the words of a man closing out his time on earth. I asked my aunt to record him singing it, and she did. And I'm so glad, because it would have been lost to time. In his old, wizened, and now crackling voice, It held such beauty and longing, and I will share it with you at the end of this video. To this day, that song is the non-tangible curio I keep close to my heart, and the one I sing whenever I think of him. 'Cause all I'll ever need now is your sweet love, and maybe a baby or two, in a little log cabin in old Kentucky, where everyone's dreams come true. Now let's take a step back to the day of Omens. Her teapots were still snug in their cabinets. I was in Florida at the time. My ex-husband and I were walking out to our car in a crowded hotel parking lot. Almost every parking space was filled with cars and trucks of all sorts and sizes, probably Mickey Mouse enthusiasts. As we neared our car, we stopped in awe. Around the car, 6 or 7 white cranes were walking in a circle, only around our car, just silently walking, their heads bobbing. As we approached, a few of them stopped to watch us. We also stopped because how could we not? My ex and I were speechless and felt that there was a significant message here for us. Later that day, we heard the news that my grandmother had passed away earlier in the day. You see, cranes are symbols of transition. In Celtic tradition, cranes were considered soul couriers and divine messengers. In some Taoist Chinese traditions, cranes were believed to transport souls to heaven. I didn't know it at the time, but cranes are seen as guides of the in-between. Across cultures, they appear at thresholds, births, deaths, crossings, as if escorting the soul from one shore to another. And they weren't around any other car, just ours. My ex looked at me and said, "What is happening?" It felt like the world itself marked the crossing, like the cranes held vigil so her spirit would not walk alone. Now, whether this was a sign from the universe or just a very personal message, as I always say, that's irrelevant. It was a transformational moment for me. When her teapot came to me not long after, it didn't feel like an object. It felt like a continuation, a soft hand held across generations, a reminder of her warmth, her humor, her stories, her endurance. Holding it, I felt something shift inside me, a recognition. You are part of this lineage now, and you get to shape what the next part becomes. The teapot was her blessing forward. My healing is my blessing backwards. Across cultures, vessels symbolize memory, cups, jars, bowls, and teapots. In 2 Corinthians, there's the line, "We have these treasures in earthen vessels," a reminder of the fragility of our bodies and how important it is that we treasure the container while we have it. In Kabbalah, the idea of vessels comes up in many different ways, but one way is that our souls are vessels that contain divine light. And each of our vessels hold story, hold memory, and hold connection to all the vessels before and after its incarnation. Even my grandfather's heartfelt song was a vessel of memory and a vessel of the world as he had experienced it in his life. When symbols appear unexpectedly and unmistakably, they become part of the generational story, part of the inheritance and the wisdom the ancestors passed down. Here is what this teapot, those cranes, and that song taught me. We do not inherit only belongings. We inherit patterns, hopes, wounds, joys, unfinished stories, and the quiet dreams our ancestors didn't have words for. We are not just the recipients of lineage. We are participants in it. We shape it with every breath, every conscious choice, every act of love, and every story we tell again and again so that it passes on instead of disappearing to time. An heirloom isn't simply a gift from the past. It is an invitation to shape the future. We are the vessels that carry on the ancestral lineage. Next week, in our Thresholds ritual, we will step into a guided ancestral conversation, a symbolic room within your inner world where memory and healing can meet, a place to receive blessings, seek closure, and soften the patterns carried throughout the generations. Prepare a quiet space. The doorway is waiting, the lantern dims, but the lineage remains within you. I'll see you next week, Mystic Travelers.
To be back here in old Kentucky, where everyone's dreams come true, where everyone knows everyone's story, and everyone knows I love you. No secrets can hide here in old Kentucky among these whispering hills, 'cause everyone knows everyone's story, and everyone's secrets revealed. Oh, I'd love to go back up on Tattletale Mountain, where you made my dream come true. You made me so glad that God made me a man. God knows I'm proud of you. That all I'll ever need now is your sweet loving. Well, maybe a baby or two in a little log cabin in old Kentucky. You made my dream come true. No secrets can hide here in old Kentucky among these whispering hills. Oh, everyone knows everyone's story, and everyone's secrets revealed. Oh, I'd love to settle down here in old Kentucky, where everyone's dreams come true. And I thank God for making me lucky and making Kentucky for you. No secrets can hide here in old Kentucky among these whispering hills. Well, everyone knows everyone's story, and everyone's secrets revealed, and everyone's secrets revealed.